Good morning everyone. Welcome to Byjus Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to the Hindu analysis of 21st June 2024. Let us look at the articles that we are going to cover today. You can see the first three articles, they all are related to NEET and UGC exam. The first one, government to set a panel to suggest steps to improve NTA's work. Second, Supreme Court to examine pleas for independent panel inquiry into NEET allegations. And the third one, CBI registers case over compromise integrity of UGC-NET. So all of them related to education, and we have already studied a lot about this topic, yet we shall see what extra is here. Fourth, regarding the Pro Tem Speaker, Mr. B. Mehtab appointed Pro Tem Speaker of Lok Sabha. Now, Mr. Bhatwari Mehtab. Ordinarily, usually this is not a controversial news item, but this time slightly. And why that has become slightly controversial, we shall see that. Fifth, over 5,000 Myanmar refugees take shelter in Manipur's Naga district. Now, something that we have to see what exactly is happening over here. Sixth, Tribal Affairs Minister misinformed about Manipur conflict, Kuki Zo body. So you can see the fifth and sixth news, they both are coming from Manipur. One is related to what is happening in Myanmar, and that's why people coming over here. Another, you can clearly see the Kuki Zo body asking about, tribal minister's comments not being absolutely correct. Seventh, Patna High Court strikes down 65% quota in Bihar. So we shall see one landmark judgment in this. Eighth, how dangerous is methanol poisoning? Now this comes from the news what is happening in Tamil Nadu. Around more than 30 people have died in the by consuming what you call spurious liquor. The liquor which was not good and was mixed with methanol. So we shall see why methanol becomes a poison. Ninth, US-Saudi agreement from feast bump to embrace. Now that's a very lengthy article. In fact, 8th and 9th are the two lengthiest article for the day. Jaishankar reviews energy projects in Sri Lanka visit. Hardly one or two lines. But then in Indo-Sri Lanka relation, this article would be beneficial for you people. Moving ahead, 3 prelims bites. Rutte seats NATO top job after lone rival drops out. So we shall see Dutch Prime Minister, outgoing Dutch Prime Minister, becoming the head of NATO. And this is very, very important. This time prelims question also came on NATO, and that was about Turkey. Number 2, limbless amphibian found in Kaziranga for the first time. Small article. We shall see what exactly has been discovered. And the last one, sickle cell patients need urgent access to modern medication. So these are 13 articles that we are going to cover today. And the first three, as I said earlier only, they all are together. See here, the whole page 1, even on page 2, there were news item regarding this. I did not take them. And page 13, you can see, number 1, government to set up panel to suggest steps to improve NTA's work. Supreme Court to examine pleas for independent panel inquiry into NEET allegations. CBI registering case over compromised integrity of UGC-NET. Got NEET paper on the eve of test, says one arrested candidate. BJP saying government resolved to take action on NEET paper leak, and Mr. Rahul Gandhi saying paper leaks are a result of capture of institutions by BJP. So too many news articles. Personally, if you ask me, if you don't read this one, if you don't read this, if you don't read this, it's more than, you won't miss out anything. Hardly one line would come from here, few things would come here, and something would come from here. And because we have already studied about NEET so extensively in the last few days, more or less everything is already covered. But then let us see here. Okay. Number 1, an institutional failure of the National Testing Agency. This is the, statement that is coming from government side. Now you all can see there is the picture of Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, who is the Honorable Union Education Minister. He is saying these two incidents. What are these two incidents? One is of the NEET, where there was too many discrepancies that has taken place. Matter is going on in Supreme Court. and another one, the cancellation of UGC-NET. They both represent, according to the government, institutional failure of the National Testing Agency. Now, I'll come to NEET in a minute, but please understand, as far as the UGC-NET paper was concerned, there was no, I would say, complaint from anyone. But then government on its own cancelled this paper, and government said yesterday that the Ministry of Education, they had received information from, please see here, Home Ministry's Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, which is also known as I4C. And the Honorable Minister is saying, moment we got this news that the paper had been released on darknet, this UGC-NET paper had been released on darknet, the Education Ministry decided to cancel this particular exam. Now, please here, understand this. You can see here, I4C said that the darknet had leaked questions from UGC-NET. Now, Minister has clearly said that we are going to have a reform committee. Now, that's not a very important news, but then Minister is saying reform committee would have people consisting of technocrats, bureaucrats, scientists who would be formed, and they would suggest how the working of NTA could be improved. Now, if you all remember, we had already studied earlier, I think in February or March, I don't remember when, but then we have studied that both houses had passed anti-cheating bill. But then Minister himself is admitting that the present condition is very, very tough because there are new weapons which are coming, which are hurting us. Now, what are these new weapons? So yesterday, the Minister talked about Telegram. And he said software like Telegram are used to leak questions. And Minister is saying that, see, we will come up with the new dates very, very soon. Now, this is the first news item about this topic. Second one, as you can see, Supreme Court examines plea for independent panel inquiry into NEET allegations. Now, everyone, I'm not going into the allegation portion. Please see here. This portion we have done very extensively last week. You know how 67 students getting 720 out of 720. How from a certain center in Haryana, 6 toppers are coming. How people have got grace marks, around 1563 candidates. How, people who are appearing in the exam in Haryana are coming from faraway states like Rajasthan and Himachal. We saw irregularities coming from Bihar, from Godhra in Gujarat. We saw numbers like 719, 718 coming, which is, statistically not possible. So there are many irregularities, and we have already talked about all these irregularities, OMR sheets and all that. So I'm not getting into this particular point. What I'm getting here is that Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court has said, and I've written here, they have decided to examine the pleas which question the center's appointment of NTA Chairman. Please remember, his name is Mr. Pradeep Kumar Joshi. So, problem is, what the petitioners are saying, where did the problem start from? It started from NTA. They, now in order to look into their problems, they appointed a committee which is again being headed by NTA chairperson. So they are saying it is wrong. How could center appoint, NTA chairman as the head of the high-powered committee which had already recommended a retest for 1563 NEET UG candidates who had been given this grace marks? So in this scenario where, there are so many allegations about NEET, question paper leaks are there, irregularities are there, I already mentioned these, this thing that the head of the NTA being appointed as the head of the high-powered committee. So it's like they would be giving a pat on their back. So that's why the petitioners are arguing that Supreme Court should appoint an independent panel inquiry. It should not be led by NTA chairperson. And yesterday the lawyers even said that Supreme Court in the past also has done something like this. Last year in the Adani Hindenburg short selling case, then also Supreme Court had done something like this. So Supreme Court had asked SEBI also, SEBI had asked to investigate, but then court also had constituted an independent panel. So that was the case here. Now, see here, steady flow of pleas. So what is happening in different high courts, different cases are being filed. And yesterday the Supreme Court has clearly said that counselling would keep on happening. They have made it very clear. We will not stay the counselling which they have stated earlier. And bench also said that all the proceedings in this NEET case, whether going in Rajasthan High Court, Calcutta High Court, Bombay High Court, which have been filed by the petitioners, they all should be clubbed together and brought in front of the Supreme Court on July 8th. So this is your second news item with regards to your NEET. Now third one is, as you can see, got NEET paper on the eve of test. Now you don't have to read this article. I said very clearly, even if you leave it, it's okay. Now basically what has happened, this news is coming from Bihar. In Bihar, one of the students, his name is Mr. Anurag Yadav. He is a NEET candidate. He got this leaked question paper one day before the examination. And he said there were many other candidates who had been given the question paper along with the answer sheet and they were asked to memorize it. Their center of the exam was D.Y. Patil. No need to remember, but D.Y. Patil School was the center. And next day when they went into the examination hall, they got the same question paper and the Hindu says that their confessional statement is also with the Hindu. Hindu says their confessional statement is there. So with every candidate, some 30-32 lakhs was taken. So similar news we have got from Godhra also, if you all remember. From Godhra, Gujarat also similar news item we have read. Now similar news item coming from Bihar. Now, if you see here, another news item that is coming is CBI is registering a case over compromise integrity of UGC-NET. Now, nothing here except for the fact that CBI is going to inquire into this. And yesterday only we said, you can see here, Education Ministry cancelled the UGC-NET exam and yesterday also we have studied. This is conducted twice a year to ascertain the eligibility of the candidates for assistant professor, JRF, assistant professor positions and for PhD admission. So this is done through your JRF, UGC-NET exams. Apart from this, there were two news items, one from BJP side, one from Congress side, you can ignore. So NEET exam, we have studied so much about this, already looked into this. These are the highlights. If you have studied this much, if you know this much, along with what we have already studied in the last week on NEET, done. You don't have to study anything else. Let's move to the next article. Now, Mr. Bhartuhari Mehtab has been appointed as the pro tem speaker. Now, he comes from the state of Odisha. He is a 7-time MP from Cuttack. Please remember, 6 times previously elected on BJD, that is Biju Janata Dal. This time elected from BJP ticket. Good, nothing wrong. If you look at constitution wise, under Article 95 subclause 1 of the constitution, to perform the duties of the speaker till the election of speaker is not done, a pro tem speaker is appointed. Now, as I said at the very beginning, there is some controversy with regards to this appointment. What is the controversy? As I said, he's a 7-time MP. But in this present Lok Sabha, you also have people like Mr. Kodikunil Suresh, who is from Kerala. He's a Congress MP. And Mr. Virendra Kumar, BJP, who are both in their 8th term. So clearly they are senior to Mr. Mehtab when it comes to Lok Sabha. Now what happens is, with regards to pro tem speaker, there is no law, but usually by convention, the senior most member is appointed as the pro tem speaker. So in this case, you can say Mr. Virendra Kumar or Mr. K. Suresh should have been appointed as the pro tem speaker. But as Mr. Virendra Kumar was already appointed as the minister in Mr. Modi's cabinet, so he could not be appointed as the pro tem speaker. So invariably, the only person who should have been appointed as the pro tem speaker, if we go according to the convention, it should have been none other than Mr. Suresh. But BJP or the current government appointed Mr. Mehtab, and he has been appointed as the pro tem speaker. Remember again, this is a very temporary position. It's a temporary speaker till your final, election is not happened. Nothing more than that. Now, again, this is a convention. There is no law. You can see Constitution does not expressly use the term pro tem speaker. Now, let me tell you, not exactly the same, but something similar had happened around 5 years ago in Karnataka. Then also, the governor had appointed Mr. K.G. Bopaiah as pro tem speaker, and against this decision, the then alliance was of Congress and JDS. They had gone to Supreme Court, and then they were saying that Mr. R.V. Deshpande, who is the senior most member, should have been appointed as the pro tem speaker. Let me tell you, when this matter had gone to Supreme Court, the then Supreme Court had said they had cancelled this, or they had, said very clearly that it is the prerogative of the governor. So in this, they are not going to interfere. And again, I'm saying it's a convention. If it is done, it is great. If it is not done, you cannot call it to be illegal. That's the whole thing. That's the crux of the matter. So if it's done, it's great. Parliamentary conventions, many things not written are unsaid, but then they are followed. But in this case, that is not being done over here. So let us look what exactly happens in future. But then the only thing that comes out of this is that this time, two things. Government may not be following the conventions, and this might be seen, I'm not sure, in the elections of Deputy Speaker of Lok Sabha. On the other hand, it has to be seen how the opposition, which has become very stronger this time, is combative as far as the Lok Sabha is concerned. So that's something that we shall be seeing. Again, let me give you one idea. I gave one example of governor. I did not give example of any, distinct president, because I did not get the, any such instance in the past, in the morning while I was trying to search, but I'll search that has before this ever, in the last 17 Lok Sabhas, has ever it happened that the pro tem speaker has been somebody who was not the senior most. So that is something that we don't know. But then if those who would be knowing this year's paper, if you would have gone through this year's prelims paper, there was a question about Mr. Sachidanand Sinha. Please see the question. Please, get the answer and tell me in the comment box. 5,000 Myanmar refugees take shelter in Manipur's Naga district. Which is that district? Kamjong district. This is the statement by Assam Rifles. Now, why Assam Rifles is giving this statement? Because the Myanmar border, it is Assam Rifles which is deployed. So that's why Assam Rifles is giving this statement. So Assam Rifles, DG Mr. Pradeep Chandran Nair had told this. So a lot of, almost 5,000 refugees, they have come from Myanmar and staying in temporary settlements since last November. Now, why they have come? You all know, fighting is going on, attacks are happening, aerial bombardments are happening as far as Myanmar is concerned. And because of this, these people, they have come on our side, and Assam's DG is making it, Assam Rifles DG is making it very clear. We know these people would go back to Myanmar the moment their safety is ensured that side. But then, the problem is, if you look at Manipur, Manipur in itself is burning for last more than a year now. We know in Manipur, if I say, there are 3 players. And these are players, when I say, on the basis of tribal, representation, I'm saying. You have the Metis. Of course, you have Kuki-Zo Hamar people. And you also have Nagas. So Manipur has, people from these 3 tribal groups. And if you look overall, there are 34 scheduled tribes, including Kuki-Zo Hamar, which I wrote, and the Nagas as far as Manipur is concerned. Since 2021, already not only in Manipur, but Mizoram also, a lot of people are continuously, coming from Myanmar to our side. And at a time when there is an ethnic conflict going on in India, specifically in Manipur, the continuous inflow of these people alters the situation. It adds another dimension to this ongoing conflict as far as Manipur is concerned. Now again, we have already studied, remember that around February, our Honorable Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah had made it very, very clear that the free movement regime that was going on is suspended, and India-Myanmar 1643 kilometer border would be fenced. So now what is happening is, in spite of all this, if people are coming, so some complaints have been received. So here there is a group's name mentioned, United Naga Council. This is the apex body of the Nagas. Along with a lot of civil society organizations, they have given a memorandum to Mr. Amit Shah through the governor that what are the problems that they are facing because of this influx of immigrants. Plus they are saying that they are also facing problem because of the deployment of Assam Rifles, and that's why they are saying Assam Rifles should be removed from this area. On the other hand, Assam Rifle people, they are saying that, see, we are here because we are here to stop the smuggling of contrabands. Contraband means drugs. We are here to stop the smuggling of illegal arms, illegal ammunitions, and illegal weapons. They are saying what has happened is the More border has been sealed, and with the sealing of More border, a lot of smuggling is happening from these areas, and that's why we are here. So again, some addition to your already this so many times Manipur, Nagaland issues has come in our newspaper analysis. You can add some new points to that. One new point is that the Honorable Tribal Minister, Mr. Joel Oram, is a very senior leader of BJP from Odisha. He has been appointed as the Minister, Union Tribal Ministers. In one of his interviews, day before yesterday, what he said is that what is happening in Manipur is basically a law and order problem, and it is being handled by Home Ministry. But then based on this statement, the Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum, this is a group of Kuki-Zo civil society, they are saying that the tribal minister is misinformed. It is not purely a law and order problem. Rather, he has to delve into this problem much more. So, the, this civil society people, they are saying that it is well documented that in this case what has happened is that the Métis people who are dominating the police, they have not tried to stop the attacks on the minority Kuki-Zo, but have actively taken part in hostilities which has led to displacement of more than 60,000 people. So the tribal group is saying under these circumstances to trivialize the matter and say it's only a law and order problem would not be absolutely correct. Moving ahead, let's come to Bihar. Patna High Court strikes down 65% quota in Bihar. So what has happened is the previous government, when I say previous, government is always of Mr. Nitish Kumar, his allies change. So previously when Mr. Nitish Kumar was there with RJD plus Congress, that is, was there as a part of UPA, then the government had increased the quota and from 49% had increased it to 65% for the, I would say, economically, not economically, the backward caste and all. EBC, the extremely backward castes. So, for the EBCs, this was increased. Along with EBC, that 65% also had scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, so around 50 to 65% for educational institution and government jobs. Government had said that why they are increasing this number, because they said that according to the caste survey, these certain classes have inadequate representation of. Now, along with the 10% that is already given to economically weaker section, you can understand in Bihar and all, this would have gone to 75%. Now, Patna High Court has cancelled this. They said this is unconstitutional. And please remember, 1992 judgment, Indra Shahni case. There the Supreme Court has clearly imposed a 50% quota as far as the reservation was concerned. So now, when this 50 to 65% is happening, clearly you can understand this is being breached. And just to give you an idea, according to Bihar Reservation Amendment Bill, EBC, from 18, their reservation would have gone to 25. Backward classes from 12, it would have gone to 18. Scheduled caste from 16, it would have gone to 20. Scheduled tribe from 1, it would have gone to 12%. 3%, which was there for backward class women, was scrapped. It was approved by the governor of Bihar and was, notified in the Gazette notification also. But then, as I said, Patna High Court is saying on the basis of this judgment, it's not going to be there. What is this Indra Shahni judgment? Under this, Supreme Court in 1992 had upholded 27% quota for backward classes, had struck down 10% government jobs for economically backward class amongst higher caste. This whole word like creamy layer and all, concept of this had got a lot of currency through that particular judgment. So if you don't have knowledge about this, please study this, a landmark judgment as far as Indian polity is concerned, very much in news, so please keep an eye on this. let us come to the bigger topic. The bigger topic is how dangerous is methanol poisoning. Now, why are we studying this? We are studying this because in Tamil Nadu, till yesterday, while this article was being written till 9:30 p.m., 38 people had died after consuming spurious liquor. So many people have died. Of course, the government took some action. The collector was, transferred. The district SP was suspended. 2,000 police personals were deployed. All that happened. Now the thing is, in Tamil Nadu, all the liquor sale is controlled by the state through their 5,000 outlets. So that's the backdrop in which this article has been written. That's the introduction. Now there are some questions. If you all would read this, the questions are: what is alcohol in liquor? What is spurious liquor? What is methanol? How does spurious liquor kill? How can methanol poisoning be treated? So basically, if you see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. Trust me, the first question is not that important. What is alcohol in liquor? Now, for those who have the idea, there are different types of liquor having different amount of alcohol content. So if you have beer, for example, there might be 5% alcohol content. There might be some other drink in which there would be 12% wine, or there might be a liquor which would have 40% alcohol. So it depends on beer, wine, whiskey, whatever it is, and based on that it differs. So different beverage, different amount of alcohol. Now almost all these alcohol that is made, in this it is ethanol that is used. They all use ethanol. So what exactly is ethanol? Ethanol is basically a psychoactive drug. So what it does is, if you have in alcohol, ethanol is there. Because of this being a psychoactive drug, what it does is, it reduces, if in low quantity it is given, it reduces the neurotransmission, sorry, there's a spelling mistake. It reduces the neurotransmission in the body. And because this neurotransmission body goes down, typically people start feeling the intoxicating effects. Now, just to make one thing very clear, some people say that if one peg is taken in small quantity, if alcohol is taken, it is good for health. Absolutely not. There is, very clearly it is written, no level of consumption is safe for our health. Absolutely. World Health Organization has made it very clear. Even a small quantity does not help our health. Now, in this, I'm not going into the science aspect, but if you will see, in the last, they have also mentioned, what exactly is, chemically, ethanol's formula and all. So ethanol, you can see they have written the formula and everything. If you can remember, it's great. If you cannot, not a problem. C2H5OH. So how, they have mentioned these carbon atoms are linked to hydrogen and OH is there. All that is written here. So technically, chemistry wise, what exactly is ethanol is written in this slide. Now comes to the second question, what exactly is spurious liquor? Now basically what happens is, this is the liquor which resulted into this huge tragedy in which 38 people have died. Invariably in the liquid, in these cases methanol would be added. some amount of methanol. So see, this is not the first tragedy that has taken place in Tamil Nadu. Before this also, tragedies have happened in different places, and every place it was found that the arak sellers, who make these alcohol, they had bought the methanol from factories and sold it to the victims. Last time also, a one-man High Court judge, Mr. B. Gokuldas, had led an inquiry into this tragedy. So these are usually this homemade liquor in which this methanol is added, and if you see, the Food Safety and Standards Alcoholic Beverage Regulations 2018 stipulates that maximum permissible quantity of methanol in different liquor. So in different liquor, how much methanol is allowed, that has been prescribed. And you can see the ranges. In coconut feni, this has to be absent. 50 gram per 100 liter in country liquor. So that might be 5 gram in 10 liter. 1 gram in 2 liters. So 2 liter alcohol, country liquor should have 1 gram of methanol. 300 gram per 100 liters of post-distilled spirits. So they have made it very, very clear how much methanol should be there. So what exactly is methanol? I'm sorry, just give me a second. Where is this? Now, see, the third question is, what exactly is this methanol? Now again, chemically if you ask, CH3OH. And it has many usages as far as the factories and industries are concerned. In industrial applications, there is a point, it is mentioned. You can see methanol has several industrial applications, including a precursor to acetic acid, formaldehyde, and etc. So this, if you can remember, it would be good that what all are the uses of methanol. Now, next question is, how does methanol lead to these deaths? That's the next question. Now in this article, a statement is given: in every huge tragedy in the history of India and of the world since 1945, the poison has always been methanol. Consuming methanol also leads to methanol-induced optic neuropathy, a serious condition that may result in visual impairment or even blindness due to damage and loss of function of the optic nerve and the retina. So you can understand, methanol clearly is not good. And in this article, they have totally, chemically, discussed that once, how does methanol operate in body. So we don't have to get into that depth, but it is mentioned that once this is ingested, there are something called ADH enzymes. They metabolize these methanol in the liver. This leads to the formation of formaldehyde. Then this ALDH enzymes convert this formaldehyde into formic acid. This formic acid, this gets accumulated in the liver, leads to a condition called metabolic acidosis, which leads to drop in the pH value of the blood below 7.3 and all that it is mentioned here. How can this be treated? They say there are two immediate methods of treating this. One is to administer pharmaceutical grade ethanol. Now you can see ethanol can cure this methanol thing. How? It says that with ethanol competes very well with methanol for ADH enzymes which metabolize ethanol around 10 times faster. The other option is to administer an antidote called fomepizole, which also has a similar mechanism. These are the ways through which, the side effects or the harmful effects of methanol could be treated. So very lengthy article, pick up the most important things, that's more important, and we don't have to go beyond that. Now comes another important article. Mr. Mahesh Sachdev, former Indian ambassador, writes US-Saudi agreement from feast bump to embrace. Now please understand, what has happened is, Saudi Arabia, USA, you all know, have had a very close relationship. Invariably, this relation has gone through its up and down. There is no doubt about this. There is, I would say, peaks and troughs as far as this relation, ups and downs. And in this article, Mr. Former ambassador is saying, right from, if you look at oil embargo that took place in 1973 to the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi, which took place in 2018. He was a US citizen of Saudi origin and was critical of the Saudi government, and he was killed in Turkey. So a lot of this is continuously going on. Now this, in the first slide, is talking about the past. We are more than done with that. The important thing is, ambassador is saying that there is a lot of news, buzz is there, that both the sides are going to form a strategic alliance agreement. This can also be called a grand bargain agreement. Grand bargain, give and take. Both the sides would give something, would take something, and this might be a big diplomatic success for Mr. Joe Biden before the November election. Now in this article, Mr. Former ambassador talks about that this would have three aspects: bilateral, regional and global. Now please understand, bilateral and regional is very easy to understand. Under bilateral, the former ambassador says that the present alliance would be turned into a strategic defense pact. Now, what is a strategic defense pact? Something that US has got, let's say, with Japan. So what would happen is that Pentagon would come to the rescue. They have promised to Japan, if anybody attacks you, we are there to protect you. Something similar would be, promised to Saudi Arabia. US will also give Riyadh F-35 fighters. Some people are also claiming, as Mr. Ambassador is writing, that US would also be ready to give nuclear secrets to, or nuclear technology for peaceful purpose use to Saudi Arab. That's at the bilateral level. At the regional level, they are saying, the talk says, Riyadh wants, that is Saudi Arab wants, that in Gaza there should be a ceasefire and some amount of two-state solution should be achieved. Palestine should get created. As a quid pro quo, what is Washington is demanding? That Riyadh should recognize Israel and should have full diplomatic relations. So USA would try to stop this war that is going on in Gaza. Of course, would try to get a two-state solution, but in return, Riyadh, that is Saudi Arab, should accept Israel. Along with that, Kingdom of Saudi Arab should not get too close to China, as well as Russia. Now, if you see in this agreement, what is there for USA? Of course, if they will be selling some F-35, there would be money. But then this defense pact is more for Saudi Arabia. This also is something that, of course, diplomatically, USA gets a lot of things. But directly, what is there for USA right now? One of the things that is coming out is that US companies they will get to make most of the projects, that is the ambitious project which is being led by Crown Prince as far as Saudi Arabia is concerned. So economically, the US companies would benefit this. So this is what he is saying over here. You can see here, lion's shares of the projects under MBS Vision 2030. Now, if anybody does not know who is MBS, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is MBS. So basically, why is US doing all this? Because Saudi was coming too close to China. Chinese President Mr. Xi Jinping had traveled to Saudi in December 2022, and that had forced America to mend its ties with Saudi. Please understand, Saudi has a very eminent position as far as the Muslim world is concerned, because it's the custodian of two of the holiest places as far as Muslims are concerned. So both Makkah and Medina, it is there. And that's why it is something that, everybody would want that Saudi should be, and they should be in the good books of Saudi. Now there are some hurdles in this. You can see here. In this, according to the ambassador, there are two big hurdles. One is the bilateral trust deficit, and the another one is the ongoing Israel-Gaza conflict, that is Israel-Hamas conflict that's going on. The first one, bilateral trust deficit, that is being talked about. See, Saudi Arabia and US had great relations. If you look, 1991, US had sent its troops to evict Saddam Hussein's forces from Kuwait, who were threatening Saudi Arabia. So clearly in the past, US has helped Saudi. But same US did not come to the rescue of Saudi Arabia in 2019, when Saudi Arabia's largest oil processing facilities were attacked. Along with that, during Yemeni war, Saudi was not given some, defense equipments. America said that Saudi might misuse it. So, in the last few months, there has been some, if you see here, bilateral trust deficit. On top of that, the fact that China started to come closer to, Saudi Arabia. And you can add Russia also. They were also closing to this, and were trying to reconcile with Iran. It had brought some mutual suspicions. The second one is ongoing Gaza conflict. When such a thing is happening, it is very, very tough for Riyadh, that is Saudi Arab, to have any reconciliation as far as Israel is concerned. Now, please understand, Joe Biden, if he wants to do anything, he needs this Riyadh-Israel reconciliation. Now, all of you would ask why. The reason is this SAA, which we studied, please see here. Strategic Alliance Agreement has to come into picture. Mr. Biden has to get it passed or get the approval of US Senate by 2/3. And in the Senate you have Republicans also who would give their approval to this only if Riyadh reconciles with Israel. So that is very, very important. Apart from this, if you see here, what is there for India? See, it is in our interest, because what happens is, if there is peace in this area, invariably it leads to regional stability. There would be more economic opportunities. You all know India has been proposing India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor. And once US is free from this area, they can focus much more on Indo-Pacific area. But then, as the ambassador clearly writes, that this is something that is being done by USA. India should also independently keep on pursuing its Act West policy. So this is with regards to your Indo-Saudi Arabia relations. Let us come to India-Sri Lanka relations. See, this is not a very important topic. But for a one-day visit, our Honorable Foreign Minister, Mr. S. Jaishankar, had gone to Sri Lanka. Met a lot of senior representatives from Sri Lanka, and he talked about some of the projects that are being carried out by Indian government in Sri Lanka. So you can see, for example, Maritime Rescue Coordination Center, which is being done by us, and the new homes which we have built have been handed over to them. Then significant attention was given to plans for a LNG supply, proposed petroleum pipeline that links the two countries, advance the oil and gas exploration projects. Additionally, construction of Sampur solar power plant is set to commence in July 24, and India's support for developing Trincomalee and expanding the Kankashtanturai port. These were talked about. So, if you see here, mainly talk was about the energy sector initiatives that India is taking in Sri Lanka. Remember, in this one MRCC, India has been very much highlighting the maritime security. And few months back, we had studied the Colombo Security Conclave. It had brought India, Maldives, Mauritius together, and Bangladesh and Seychelles were observers. So this coincides with Sri Lanka's ongoing moratorium to foreign research vessels. Once we had raised the concerns with regards to China's, ships docking in Sri Lankan water. So with regards to India-Sri Lanka relation, just remember 2-3 points here, that these are the certain things that we are doing as far as Sri Lanka is concerned. NATO news, Mark Rutte, who is he? Outgoing Dutch Prime Minister, is going to be the next head of WTO. Initially was challenged by Romanian President Mr. Klaus Lohannis, but then he pulled out. You can see here the current Secretary General, Mr. Jens Stoltenberg, his term ends on October 1st, and then Mr. Rutte would become the next NATO chief. There were some objections. One was of Romanian President, which had made everybody unhappy. Other objections to his claim was coming from Turkey and Hungary. And you can mention even Romania. These three countries had brought some hurdles in his election to the post of the head of NATO, but one by one he won all these three, and thus he is going to be the next NATO head. Another news coming from environment side from India, you can see the striped Sicilian. It's a limbless amphibian who has been added to the fauna in Kaziranga National Park and Tiger Reserve. Assam's wildlife officials, they are saying this is a team of herpetologists recorded this striped Sicilian in the Tiger Reserve for the first time during a rapid herpetofauna survey. Houses 24 species of amphibians and 74 species of reptiles, and Kaziranga is also home to 21 of the 29 species of tortoises and freshwater turtles that are found in India. So please remember that this has been discovered here. Apart from that, do study your Kaziranga National Park as well as Tiger Reserve. That's more than sufficient. Last news, yesterday also we studied about sickle cell patients. Please, this is a very lengthy article and sickle cell has been done by us 3-4 times. Yet I'm asking you to do this to know what exactly is disease all about. So it's a chronic condition which encompasses a group of inherited disorders which affect hemoglobin, which is the protein responsible for oxygen transport in the body. Typically, these RBCs possess a disc-like shape, flexible they are, facilitating smooth movement through blood vessels. But if you get affected by STD, which is a genetically mutation, this causes RBC to adopt a crescent or sickle shape. Now, India has the second highest global prevalence of this disease with 1 in 86 births, and specifically amongst our tribal people, which we had studied earlier also. Another big problem is because, the treatments are very, very costly. Though there have been many advancements made with regards to this treatment, but then this is costly, and that's why there is a lot of talk about research, collaboration, and there is advocacy for collaboration when it comes to your sickle cell anemia. So please, you can see the gist. The empowering tribal communities is key to addressing the endemicity of SCD in India. Leveraging the indigenous knowledge, nurturing partnerships, and grassroots healthcare infrastructure are part of the process needed to find solutions tailored to the needs of the tribal population. So tribal people, they get affected by this in a big manner. Moving ahead, let us see the 2 mains question. Number 1, discuss the purpose of creating National Testing Agency and its function in the light of NEET paper leak case. Attempted in 150 words, 10 marker. Question number 2, discuss the 50% cap on reservation set in the Indira Sawhney case. This cap has been violated by many states. Analyze the issues related to reservation policies in the light of this statement and propose improvements in it. 250 words, 10 marker. Rather, it should be a 15 marker. By mistake, it's 10. So with that, we are done with the newspaper discussion for the day. We'll meet again at the same place, same venue tomorrow. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.